Hi everyone, Boruto Eggs is back with another video. This time we're going to talk about Boruto, and the character in question will be Delta specifically. It's honestly mind-boggling how much downplay she gets, even in 2023, when her feats speak for themselves. There are people who really think that she would lose to Teen KCM to Naruto, or even worse, 14 years old Obito. And no, I'm not joking, just search some YouTube shorts with her, or read some Instagram comments and see for yourself. Anyways, this video will be a complete breakdown on how strong she really is, and how well she would do against the main villains that we saw until now in the series. Let's start off the scaling by taking a look at her fight against Naruto. Tired of waiting for Kashin Koji to retrieve Kawaki, Delta decided to invade the village and do that herself. The moment Delta reached Naruto and the kids, Kawaki got immediately an alert and stated that every Kurama member was a monster. Boruto immediately noticed the switch in Kawaki's attitude. He wasn't acting snotty like he always did, but he was really scared of her. That's insane, because Kawaki saw Naruto while he was in his Kurama mode, but he still thought that every Kurama was a monster, and still, Delta was making him tremble. The fight started, Delta rushed at Naruto, and she tried to hit him with a barrage of kicks. Naruto dodged each and every one of them, grabbed her leg, and slammed her to the ground. Now, many Delta headers will use those scans to prove that base Naruto was already stronger than her, but that's obviously not true. By using that quote-unquote logic, base Naruto is absolutely relative to fused Momoshiki. But we know for sure that's not the case, since in order to defeat him, Naruto and Sasuke had to use their Kurama plus Susanoo avatar. After Delta absorbed base Naruto's Rasengan, she went on mocking him by saying, "Oh nice dodge, I'll give you that." It's obvious that she wasn't being serious at that point, and it doesn't take an innate level of reading comprehension to understand that. If Delta was really a base Naruto's victim, answer this: why did Naruto felt the need to go into his Kurama mode when Delta actually started to go all out on him? If Naruto was stronger than her in base, there wouldn't have been any need for him to transform. But guess what? He did transform because Delta was that strong, simple. Now, let's keep going in chronological order so that we don't make any confusion. After Delta kicked Naruto, she transformed her legs and stabbed him in the stomach. At this point of the fight, Naruto was really holding back, and Delta was easily able to notice that. Naruto himself confirmed so. He was trying to act weakened, so that Delta could have maybe lowered her guard and give him some new intels on Kara. Delta got pissed at Naruto after he tried to trick her, so she decided to go absolutely 100% this time, and Naruto stated that from this point of the fight onwards, he was going to go all out too. From now on, it's kinda obvious that Naruto was really being serious. He tried to spill informations out of her, and it didn't work, so the only option remaining was beating her ass up. And in order to do so, he needed to go all out. Now, there is something to clarify before going on with the scaling. Naruto going 100% all out means Naruto using his Kurama avatar in Boruto, and that was directly confirmed during the Gigan's fight. So, while it's incorrect to say that Naruto was at full power overall, it's correct to say that he was at full power in his Kurama mode state without avatar. After they both stated that they were going all out, they started powering up DBZ style and rushed at each other. That's when the real fight started, and Naruto and Delta were shown to be pretty relative. After their first serious exchange of blows, Boruto even commented on how unbelievable their battle was and that he could in no way, shape or form help Naruto since he was too weak compared to them. That's important because Boruto saw Naruto and Sasuke fighting against Momoshiki, but he still thought that Naruto versus Delta was an unbelievable battle, obviously meaning they were both strong fighters and trying hard to defeat the other. The fight continued, and it still was back and forth. We even saw Naruto using his lava-style Raisen's Hurricane, something he did in Shippuden against Madara, while going all out. You see? After that, Naruto was thinking about what to do next, since he was getting pressed in taijutsu, and he couldn't use ninjutsu on her head-on, because she could have absorbed them easily with her eyes. Boruto noticed that, and right after, Kawaki stated that them intervening in order to assist Naruto would have impeded Naruto from going all out against Delta. Now, many people will use the remaining part of that conversation to say that Naruto completely surpassed Delta, and he was still holding back at that point of the fight. But that's not true. First panel, the Hokage is the one who's in control right now. So, does that mean he was holding back? No, that means they were relative, but Naruto had the upper hand. Relative doesn't mean equal. I'll explain that in a way that everyone can understand. Being relative means having similar particular characteristics or values compared to other things or persons. In that case, the particular values were strength and speed. As we saw before, when Naruto stopped holding back, he was going back and forth against Delta with similar speed and strength. On the other hand, being equal means being the same or having the same values or amounts as something or someone else. In this case, we can say that they weren't equal, since as Kawaki stated, Naruto was still stronger than her, even though they were relative. This is further backed up by the fact that Kawaki thought Naruto would have won in the end if he kept fighting like he did until that point, since in the end, he was still slightly superior to Delta. The fight then continued, and Delta started to use her laser beams. They were very strong and they could negate durability. However, as Naruto stated, they were very chakra taxing. Naruto's plan was to make Delta tie her up and then defeat her with a Rasengan. The fact that he couldn't defeat her with taijutsu only just proved once again that the two of them were at least relative, since Naruto needed a strong jutsu to defeat her. Then, you already know what happened. Boruto had the splendid idea to intervene in the fight. By the way, I'm glad in the anime they changed that stupid move, and that created an opening for Delta to go and attack the kids. Delta grabbed Himawari, threw her up in the air, and she was almost able to end her off, had not Kawaki intervened to help her. Now, that moment is crucial, because Naruto was barely able to outspeed Delta's beams before going to shield Himawari. I don't think I need to tell you that Naruto wasn't holding back at that point. Her daughter was about to get killed. He had no reason to not go all out in speed. Kawaki's arm got obliterated, and the fight then resumed. As you can see, Delta and Naruto were shown again to be pretty relative in both strength and speed. You see, the thing is that after Delta tried to kill Himawari and heavily injured Kawaki, Naruto was furious at her. Even Boruto noticed that. But you know what? Delta could still keep up with that enraged Naruto, who clearly wasn't holding back. The page later, we saw Naruto's body full of scratches. Even Delta noticed that Naruto was getting tired. You do not get tired if you are holding back. Let me make an example. Let's say I'm training pull-ups, right? And my maximum is 20. If I'm going to do just 8 to 10 reps each set, I will not get tired easily because my maximum number is far away, and by working under buffer, I can perform way more reps without getting tired fast. If Naruto was really holding back in that fight, he would have not gotten so tired in a so short period of time. From what we saw, Naruto was really going out of breath, meaning he was putting a great amount of effort to get to that condition. Here are other statements about Naruto being enraged, denying it. It's impossible at this point. After Naruto said all that, he decided to opt for a new strategy, overfill Delta with chakra and make her blast. This time Naruto's plan worked fine. He was able to overfill Delta with chakra and her vision shut down due to that. Then Naruto used his biggest Rasengan on Delta and was successfully able to defeat her. I have 3 things to say about that though. First, even though Naruto defeated her, her body was still intact after tanking a super giant Rasengan, which is mind-blowing. Second, the moment Naruto defeated Delta, he reverted back to base after falling on the ground, meaning once again that he was tired after the fight since he tried hard against her. Third and last, Naruto had to use his strongest Rasengan to defeat Delta, meaning he could have not done that with just taijutsu, reconfirming the fact that Delta was relative to him in that regard. And it's proven, since Delta was overloaded, she could have not fought back. But Naruto thought that he needed his super Rasengan to finish her off. Taijutsu or basic Rasengans only would have not been enough. Now, many people will use just this single page to debunk all the essay I wrote until now, but that doesn't work for the simple fact that, if you can read, Naruto stated that he held back, but in the context of his last Rasengan. Like I said before, Naruto was stronger than her, so they were not equal. But yes, they were relative. In the end, Naruto was still stronger, so he defeated her. Simple. We even have multiple V-jump statements that confirms the fact that Naruto was serious against Delta. He used all of his chakra to win. Sounds like he wasn't holding back. Each Kara member has been stated to possess a war potential similar to the one of the Hokage, plus, it's stated that Naruto had an actual hard-fought battle against Delta. Even in the anime, Kurama stated that Naruto is at his strongest when fighting to protect someone. In this case, he was protecting Kawaki, his son, and his daughter. So yeah, he was at his strongest 100%. So, in conclusion, if you think that Naruto was still holding back after he tried to get some info on Kara at the beginning of their fight, you're on some high copium, man. To summarize all it up, Naruto only tried to get intel on Kara at the start of the fight. After he failed to do so, he was going all out minus Kurama avatar. Delta was relative to him, and as stated by Naruto, the only way to defeat her was to create an opening and hit her with a Rasengan. Then Delta started to use her destructive beams. Even if they were really powerful, they were very chakra taxing. Naruto's plan this time was making her waste chakra by making her spamming them. Boruto intervened and fucked all up. Naruto and Himawari almost died if it wasn't for Kawaki shielding them. At this point, Naruto opted for making Delta overheating by constantly feeding her with Rasengans. In the end, Naruto finished her with a super giant Rasengan and secured the win. Now that we saw that Delta is in the Kurama mode Naruto range of power, let's see where she scales in terms of AP and speed, specifically, and what she would do against other villains in the show. In terms of speed, there is not much to say. Delta is way faster than anyone in Shippuden. Momoshiki has a calc of him being able to absorb chakra from the parallel universe he created. Naruto could keep up with Momoshiki in speed, so Delta would be in the same range too. This feat was calced to be around massively faster than Light Plus. The calc has many interpretations, but none of them puts Momoshiki below billions of times faster of light. There is also the feat of Naruto, being able to constantly knead chakra into Kawaki's prosthetic arm, and he was able to do that from a totally different dimension. As you can see, Boruto teleported everyone in the Ishiki fight into another dimension, plus, Otsutsuki's dimensions are universal in size at the bare minimum, but we'll see that later. Naruto, while he was in that dimension, was still able to, like I said before, knead his chakra into Kawaki's arm. We could see that by looking at when the Baryon mode was starting to weaken, that the link was still active and getting weaker too. So yeah, Naruto and all the characters relative to him in speed aren't lower than MFTL plus in speed, and it's pretty clear if you can read. Yes, I'm aware that Kaguya was able to perform a feat similar to the ones before, but like Black Zetsu said, that dimension had a specific function that let her absorb the chakra from that far away. It's more like an hacks and unquantifiable thing. Speed goes to Delta over anyone in Shippuden, basically. Now let's see the attack potency part. Both Momoshiki and Kaguya were able to create their own dimensions. Kaguya's desert dimension had a planet, a sun, and a moon. Momoshiki's dimension had one planet, one sun, and 4 stars. We could see sunlight streaks on the page of the manga, and Sasuke could feel the heat coming from the sun in Kaguya's desert dimension, proving that the sun and possibly the moon too were real in that dimension. Also, the ice dimension was shown to have a day and night cycle, which is worth to note. It was confirmed a multitude of times that both Kaguya and Momoshiki created their own dimensions. The creation of said dimensions would put them in the solar system level at the bare minimum to the multi-solar system level of power. I know some people won't like the Kaguya data book that says she created her dimensions, because the data book scans actually translates to assemble, but let's see why this is wrong. What Kishimoto did was using figurative language, something that he did very frequently while writing Naruto. The kanji tsumugu figuratively translates to create, and that's what Kaguya did with her dimensions. Why was it impossible for Kaguya to have assembled her dimensions? We know that Heretsu enclosed the power of all creation, and the power to destroy and recreate the entire world from naught. It doesn't actually say to reshape. That's a mistranslation, since the kanji right here, Tsukuri Keiru, translates to remake. It's impossible to assemble something from nothing. We know Kaguya was going to recreate her dimension right after having destroyed it completely, meaning she had no materials to assemble in order to recreate her dimension. So yes, she could destroy and recreate them from zero. We know that makes even more sense, since the kanji used right there means Zishi, and Zishi refers to the Buddha's laws of creation and destruction. In the Boruto novel number 3 Shinobi no Yoru, Momoshiki caused a supernova. In the novel, it was stated that the sun was dying. The sun was in fact undergoing a supernova. The dying sun emitted a synchrotron radiation. The star in question seemed to be illuminating, like what a star does post-supernova in the anime. Supernovas emit synchrotron radiation. Also, yes, once a supernova goes through the cataclysm shockwave, it's still called a star. Momoshiki causes its supernova because otherwise he would have not transversed to a dying star because all the people there would have been dead. So, there would have not been anything to harvest. However, it was explicitly stated he'd already used them to create a chakra fruit. How was it not a natural occurrence? There was nothing natural about it. If the sun was going through a supernova, the conditions would have not been right, especially with a lot of asteroids flying around. It would have killed the population millions of years ago. But there was a population when Momoshiki arrived. He arrived not that long ago, since the events of the novel are on a timeline. We know he hadn't been there for millions of years because other things had happened prior on the timeline, and the Otsutsuki law is to constantly travel from planet to plant a 10 tails and then eat chakra fruits. So in the end, this means that a supernova just happened impossibly quick. It's basically implied that Momoshiki caused it. And this particular novel is part of Shon's official Boruto Naruto Next Generation timeline that confirms the fact that is 100% canon to the main storyline. A nova will put off a pathetic 1/10,000th of its mass in the explosion. With a supernova, it is pretty darn close to 100%. The mass will be traveling in all directions at about 30,000 kilometers per second, 10% the speed of light. Blasted cataclysm will briefly outshine the entire galaxy. In a few months, a supernova will emit as much energy as Sol will over its entire lifetime. Type 1 or Type 2 supernovas emit about 1 pho, which is about 1040 for joules. So in conclusion, solar system level plus for supernova or hypernova, which are about 1044 to 1046 joules, making base Momoshiki scale to that value, and it's consistent with what we saw before. The dimension that Momoshiki created is way larger than our common solar system, since the actual distance from just 2 of the 4 stars in his dimension is larger than our own solar system. And that's a low ball. Naruto and Boruto characters can even be scaled higher than solar system / multi-solar system level, since Kaguya's dimensions were stated numerous times to be spacetimes, therefore 4-dimensional constructs. In the anime, they were always called spacetimes too, so it's consistent. Creating and destroying them, like Kaguya was going to do, would pretty much put her in the universal plus tiers of power. The notion that Kaguya's dimensions were that big was reconfirmed in the Boruto the movie novel. Momoshiki held the power to send people into different hyperspaces, and they likened those hyperspaces to Kaguya's dimensions. And since Momoshiki created the dimension in which they were in, and that same dimension was referred to be in hyperspace, that would make Momoshiki scale to universal plus like Kaguya too. Kaguya's dimensions being at least universal in size was reconfirmed in the Ninja Storm 4 Naruto game, and yes, this game was proven to be canon since Kishimoto was directly involved with all the implementations done in it. Let's take a closer look at Kaguya's dimensions in the games. Not only they have stars and nebulas, but there are also redshifts, which means her dimensions worked on an expansive universe method. Her dimensions also have a blue shift, which could imply a collision course with another galaxy, similar to the Andromeda and Milky Way 1. So yeah, her dimensions were at the very least universal in size, and possibly even for D. Now, we saw that base Momoshiki and Kaguya were able to perform those feats. How is that correlated to Delta? Let's see really quick. Naruto, with the help of Team 7, was able to seal Kaguya when he was just 17. After his fight against Sasuke, Naruto got another half of Kurama, and a new arm made of Hashirama cells. Both of these things made him way stronger already. Sasuke in the Naruto, the last time period, was stated by Kakashi to be his strongest student, meaning that Sasuke caught up to the amps that Naruto got after the War Arc 2. It was stated once again in the guides that during the 2 years time skip from the War Arc, all the characters had gotten stronger, and in the picture is even shown Naruto, proving he himself got actually stronger too. Toneri was stated to have chakra similar to Kaguya, and he was even stated to be stronger than her. Naruto alone, in the last novel and anime adaptation, was shown to be able to fight and defeat that same Toneri, who was stated to be stronger than Kaguya. So yeah, even after 2 years only, Naruto and Sasuke got exponentially stronger than their war arc counterparts. In the Sasuke Sunrise novel, which took place after the events of Naruto the Last, the narrator implied that Sasuke would be able to take on an existence greater than Kaguya by himself. That makes perfect sense, and it's consistent since he should have been stronger than Toneri, like we saw before. In the Naruto Ninja Storm for game, which as we saw before, Kishimoto worked on, 19 years old, Naruto and Sasuke were stated to possess the strongest Ugi, and that was stated the beauty of 3 times. That means Naruto's Raisin's Hurricane combined with Sasuke's Inferno style was stronger than Kaguya's expansive truth-seeking orb, since Hiritsu was considered an Ugi too. So yeah, Delta would slam characters like Jubato, Jubadara, Kaguya, and Toneri since she has shown relativity to a Naruto that was way stronger than all of them. I know what you want to hear. Now, how well would Delta do against the main villains that we saw in Boruto? Let's see. Kaguya feared Momoshiki, Kinshiki, and if you count the anime Urashiki so much that she fused with the 10 tails, and she tried to kill her sons in order to take back her chakra that got split between them at birth. And not only that, before fighting against her sons, she was doing many rituals in which she assembled people and used the infinite Tsukiyomi on them in order to create a huge army of white Zetsus to assist her in going up against the Otsutsuki trio. Kaguya didn't fear the entire Otsutsuki clan, but just Momoshiki, Kinshiki, and Urashiki. All the 4 different kind of media we got confirmed this fact. Her being scared of the entire clan is a big headcanon theory Kaguya fanboys always try to use, but it doesn't work. So, now that we saw that the Otsutsuki trio is stronger than Kaguya, let's see how well Kinshiki and Momoshiki would stack up to Delta. Let's start with Kinshiki first. Sasuke post-teleportation fought against him, and while holding back, he had the upper hand. He was even able to cut one of his horns off while fighting him in Kenjutsu only. Keep in mind that Sasuke didn't even use his Susanoo, which is the equivalent to Naruto's Kurama avatar, and he had to keep part of his chakra intact because he had to teleport away. After that fight, we saw Kinshiki going up against a post-teleportation Sasuke, this time a bit more tired since he teleported more people, plus Chojuro and Kurosuchi. With the efforts of the 3 of them combined, they were successfully able to seal Kinshiki, thanks to Shojuro's bone mutilation technique and Kurosuchi's ash stone sealing jutsu. Now, I think Delta would be able to defeat Kinshiki, and let me explain, Sasuke wasn't going all out with his Susanoo against him, plus, he was even holding back in his normal Rinnegan state. Meanwhile, an all-out 6 paths Naruto without Kurama avatar was getting pressed way more than an holding back Sasuke got against Kinshiki. Other than being physically stronger than Kinshiki, she has way better hacks and abilities too. It doesn't matter if Kinshiki damages her with his chakra weapons, she can insta-regenerate every part of her body. Her destructive beams would fuck up Kinshiki very badly, since he has no type of regenerative abilities. If he gets hit by them, he's done for. Also, the speciality of her beams is to counter regeneration, so no, she may win mid to high diff, but Delta would definitely slam Kinshiki. Now, how would she do against base Momoshiki? Well, let's see. Let's analyze base Momoshika's feats before jumping to conclusions. Of course, I'm going to count his pills, since that's the strongest version of base Momoshiki that we've seen. Momoshiki was able to throw at Naruto many amped jutsu that required half of Kurama Avatar 6 paths Naruto to block. Sasuke decided to help Naruto and started to infuse some of his chakra into the Kurama Avatar head that was shielding them. However, Momoshiki was able to press them and destroy the Avatar's head with some casual amped jutsu. Momoshiki decided to finally launch his amped Biju Dama against Naruto and the others, and at this point Naruto decided to finally go all out. Then we got this statement that makes things way more clear about the scaling and this matchup in particular. Sasuke stated that Naruto could have easily obliterated Momoshiki's Biju Bomb, but he didn't because the village would have gotten obliterated in the process too. So Naruto opted to use his body to absorb the damage himself that resulted in him getting defeated and kidnapped by the Otsutsuki duo. That's important because that means base Momoshiki amped with his pills had enough attack potency to defeat Naruto in his Kurama avatar. Obviously, if they fought in a desolated area, Naruto would have obliterated that Bijou bomb, but he still would have done that in his Kurama avatar, so Momoshiki having that attack potency is still consistent. Now, let's see Momoshiki without his pills. Gaara and Darui together were pushing him. They weren't using any particular ninjutsu since Momoshiki could absorb them. By exploiting his weakness in taijutsu, they were able to hold their own against him. Many people use this as an anti-feat to say Momoshiki is trash, but that's bullshit to be honest. Gaara and Darui aren't weak, saying base Momoshiki is trash just because they were pressing him in his weakest point is disingenuous as fuck. As we saw before, Kaguya was pissing her pants just by thinking about Momoshiki and Kinshika's arrival on the Earth that already established superiority for them. Plus, Kaguya never see the pills amped Momoshiki, so she was scared of his base pill-less form. That simply means Gaara and Darui, in the time skip from Naruto to Boruto, got so strong that now they could fight against that same pill-less base Momoshiki who was above Kaguya. You need to understand that other characters than Naruto and Sasuke are allowed to get stronger, stop being a Shippuden tard. The Boruto-era Kagis in general, if we count the manga continuity, they have absolutely zero anti-feats. Whether you like it or not, just because you don't believe they are strong doesn't mean that they aren't. Shikamaru, one of the smartest characters in the series, thought that the Kagis were the strongest ninjas on the earth, meaning they were above a 32-years-old Sakura, which was way above her 17-years-old version, who was already able to hurt Kaguya badly. Sasuke himself acknowledged the strength of the Fukagis, and he thought he and them would have been able to defeat Momoshiki and Kinshiki, implying they are strong. Also, if they were really fodders, there would have been no point in bringing them to save Naruto, since Sasuke had to waste more chakra to teleport them with him. So, even without pills, base Momoshiki is a beast, and the 4 Kagis too. Stop with the downplay. Back to the topic. As we saw before, base Momoshiki amped with pills has more AP than Delta, considering the fact that he could damage a partial Kurama avatar, amped with Sasuke's chakra, and with just random jutsus. Meanwhile, Delta could damage a Kurama mode Naruto only, no avatar included. As for their speed, they would both be able to fight against each other. There is no significant gap here. Hacks and abilities are the crucial part of this matchup. It's true that Momoshiki has the better AP, but Delta would be able to absorb all the jutsu that Momoshiki would throw at her. However, Delta can absorb jutsu with only one eye. If Momoshiki were to throw his Bijou Dama and then assault her with his other amped jutsu, he would be able to explode Delta very easily. This matchup really depends on if you think that Delta can absorb more jutsus at the same time. Based on what we saw, I really dub it, Delta only ever absorbed one jutsu at time, so yeah, with his better AP, Momoshiki would be able to destroy her, while she's occupied absorbing his Bijou Dama. Now, if for some reason you think that Delta would be able to absorb everything that base Momoshiki would throw at her, she would beat base Momoshiki easily right after, since she's way stronger than him in taijutsu. As we saw before, Delta was relative to Kurama mode Naruto in taijutsu. Meanwhile, Momoshiki without pills was getting pressed by Gaara and Darui, who both did worse than a fatigued and injured base Naruto against fused Momoshiki. So yeah, like I said before, it can go either way, depending on if you think that Delta can absorb more jutsu at the same time. Against fused Momoshiki, she would lose badly. I don't know why this is even a matchup, but I'll cover it briefly. Momoshiki wasn't getting slapped around by chakra drain Naruto and Sasuke singularly, like you hear many people say. First off, before the fight between them even started, Naruto stated that Momoshiki was a completely different beast than he was before. And we already saw that base Momoshiki amped with pills could already damage Naruto in both his partial and full Kurama avatar. Now, let's look at the infamous scans and see what's wrong about them. Those scans do not prove that Naruto and Sasuke were stronger than Momoshiki in a 1 versus 1. What they are proving is the fact that they both caught him off guard before punching him. Unless you are half blind, you can clearly see that Momoshiki had an exclamation mark in both the instances in which they were able to hit him. Momoshiki didn't expect Naruto to transform at that moment, and he didn't expect Sasuke to pop behind him with a Chidori. When Momoshiki was on guard and ready to fight, he was about to kill Sasuke in 3 pages, had not Naruto intervened to save him. Naruto tried to fight Momoshiki in his Kurama avatar, but Momoshiki formed his golem and started to beat his ass easily. Those are 2 instances in which Naruto and Sasuke alone couldn't do nothing against Momoshiki unless they teamed up. In the back of the 3rd Boruto volume, it was stated that Naruto and Sasuke needed to team up in order to be able to do something against him. This statement is very valid, since they needed to combine their strength and use the majestic attire Susanoo in order to pin down Momoshiki, the same majestic attire Susanoo that was stated to be the strongest ninjutsu in existence. It was never stated in the manga that Naruto and Sasuke were at 50% of their chakra, and even if you take the anime statement from granted, Momoshiki said that he was halfway through extracting Kurama's chakra. Naruto's chakra isn't just the one of Kurama, but his personal one too, and 10% of each and every other Bijou, so he was not at 50% power, nor below that. For Sasuke, it's the same thing. He teleported 8 people into Momoshiki's dimension, but he still had all of his Tomos on his Rinnegan, so he wasn't even close to be low on chakra, like he was against Shin. I would say that they were more around like 70% of their power, and still, that was just an anime thing. Plus, they needed to team up and attack Momoshiki with their strongest jutsu, or else he would have botted them. In conclusion, this Momoshiki absolutely curb stomps Delta, and it's not close. So, in terms of AP, she's Uni Plus by scaling over Kaguya, and in terms of speed, she's in the MFTL Plus range by being relative to adult Kurama mode Naruto. Anyways, that's it for today's video. I didn't lowball her, and I didn't wank her too. That's her most consistent scaling in my opinion. Feel free to comment about what you think on this topic, and see you next time. Peace.